Okay, we got a real quick demonstration here of this old Kenwood sewing machine. First thing I'm going to show you is where to plug it in. And it's down here on the bottom. And we're just going to snap that right in there. And of course, you plug her in. Here's the light. Now this is a left justified needle. On the older machines that they turned into zigzags, the easiest way they could do it was just go ahead and set the needle up on the left side. Now let's wind the bobbin here real quick. I'm going to go around this bobbin winding post here that gives it a little bit of tension. This is a class 15 bobbin. I'm going to use a plastic one here, which is just fine. Set her on the bobbin winding post. Engage the foot. Release the free motion clutch so that when you turn the bobbin, it doesn't run the machine. Now we're going to thread this machine. I hope you can see this. I've got a little thread guide at the back. Got a thread guide at the front. I'm going to come down between the tension discs on the upper tension, behind the check spring, down below the check spring arm, and up through the take-up lever, through the eye. So when I jerk on it, that spring should jump. Okay, down through the take-up lever eye number 1, take-up lever eye number 2. Well, let's just call that the needle bar eye. And into the needle itself, and we're going to thread it that direction. So I'm going to flip that little lever, pull straight out. So what I got here is a bobbin and a bobbin case. And I sure hope you can see this. What I got here is a bobbin and a bobbin case. That bobbin is wound over the top, the thread's coming off over the top, and that's the way I'm going to put it in the bobbin case. There's a little slot right here, so I'm going to move that into and bring it underneath the bobbin tension spring. Okay, so when I pull straight up, that bobbin is going to turn clockwise, and we're going to stick her right back in there so that the little arm fits in its appropriate area there so it won't turn. I'm going to pick up the bobbin thread underneath by rotating it one turn with my hand till my take-up lever is at its highest point, and as you can see, hopefully it grabbed my bobbin thread and brought it up. Now I'm going to tuck it back underneath here, and we're ready to sew. A couple things here that may not be obvious. This is my foot pressure tension. If I press on the outside, it releases all the tension to my foot. And just having it down halfway seems to work just fine. This is my thread stitch length lever. It's got a little adjustment screw in here so that you can lock it in a particular place. When I take her all the way up, that reverses the stitching here. So let's just sew here a little bit. And I'll hit reverse. Okay. Okay, we've ran a straight stitch here. Just checking for upper and lower tension. You're going to have to get used to that. Adjusting this. This knob here, it's set at about 2 right now. Depending on the material you're using, you may have to adjust this a bit. Rule of thumb is the thicker and heavier the material, the higher your upper tension needs to go. You shouldn't need to mess with the bobbin tension, only in very rare cases. This is our zigzag width knob. This is very simple. Let's just take it all the way up to full zigzag, and of course it won't stay there. I need to lock it. This is my locking knob. So if I take her up to full width, twist this little knob, it stays there, and now I am zigzagging. This unit here used to be for an additional stitch. It was causing trouble in this particular machine. It has been disengaged, so just don't pay any attention to it. Let's talk about sewing leather and heavier products here for just a second. These machines can certainly handle it. There's a couple things that'll help you out. In most cases, if you'll start the initial stitch with your hand and puncture the product, start it on its way back up, and then start sewing. Also, at the end of your stitch, finish it by hand with the hand wheel so that you don't overshoot. Leather is very leather is very unforgiving. It leaves a nice hole even if you don't have a stitch there. So let's turn the corner here, and since this isn't real big, I don't want to, I'm just going to do it by hand. Now let's turn back and go this way. As you see, it really doesn't have any trouble at all going through that material, as long as you make the penetration first.